I'm very honored to be here, but I'm also very sad that I'm not there physically. But if everything's okay, let's get started. Okay. Thank you so much. The art of storytelling in the world of immersive videos. My name is Krishnaprasad Jagadish, and I'll be taking you through a developer's perspective through this 180-degree immersive enchantment. The way people consume content is changing dramatically. It started with the radio, which was a programmed content. You didn't have much choice, and it was more of a sit-back experience. Then came the TV, programmed content plus cable. Then we had the smart TVs, which had apps, cable plus OTT. A dramatically different form factor emerged recently with the smartphones. Smaller screen size, we had apps like YouTube, YouTube Shorts, TikToks, and everything in between. Now, we are in the era of headsets. Tech giants are betting very big on the XR hardware. Right? So we see Pico, Quest, recently announced Android XR, and our favorite Apple Vision Pro. All of these have very high-tech software, very high specification hardware, with display densities that we have never seen before. Yet, one question remains: do we have the right supporting content and software to match these new devices? Take Apple Vision Pro for example. Right? It offers some amazing apps like Luna, which is one of my favorites, which uses the medium and interaction in a very beautifully and engaging way. Then we have DJ, another app that I really love, which transforms your environment into a very magical experience and makes you a DJ without requiring any additional equipment. But the best that we have seen so far has been Apple's own immersive experiences. It feels like the hardware was designed specifically to consume content this way, and the content was designed to match the hardware. And hence, we all love it. Why is immersive storytelling so impactful? Right? So imagine I'm telling you a story about a snake boat race in Chaarana, India. Today, on your phones, this is how we consume the content. We simply watch the media. But with immersive films, however, I can take you from being an observer to an active participant. I can actually place you on the boat and make you feel as if you are a part of the experience. You can look around, everything is true to scale, and then you will feel so much more attached to what is happening on the screen. And at Chaarana Labs, this is what we set out to make this. We are India's first startup focused exclusively on creating immersive experiences for Apple Vision Pro. With Raksha, myself, and Chaarana, we want to build very exclusive experiences and immersive experiences for Apple Vision Pro. A little bit about me. I've been developing software on Apple platforms for about 17 years. I specialize in immersive devices, which I've worked on Unreal, Magic Leap, HoloLens, Quest, and recently the Apple Vision Pro. I was previously a senior research engineer at XReality.Zone, one of the companies that Apple acquired to build some foundational principles on Apple Vision Pro. And Immersive India is our product. It's available on the App Store. It's a platform that is built with very sophisticated technology, but deeply rooted in culture as well. It features a series of immersive 180-degree 3D experiences that showcases the cultural diversity of India, from cityscapes, multimedia experiences, and a lot more films on the way. We launched the app on August 15th, on India's Independence Day. This is a lot of overwhelming love. It's one of the most popular apps on the Vision Pro App Store. Featured several times. We are incredibly proud of what we have built. Now, let's understand what does it take to create an immersive film. Right? The first one is the medium, which for us is Apple Vision Pro. Apple Vision Pro is a device with one of the highest resolution displays, advanced sensors, and exceptional hardware and software integration via VisionOS. VisionOS offers excellent support for creating highly immersive experiences, whether it's for passive content consumption or active interaction. It provides all the APIs necessary to craft very, very compelling experiences. Now, let's get some concepts, right? So I'm going to take you through a series of different concepts that are important to understand how to make an immersive film into it. First, let's dive into different types of video formats. First, rectilinear video. This is a format that we are very familiar with. This is laid back on flat rectangular media, used in everyday movies and photographs, and even on a VR headset, this can be experienced via virtual screen. Then comes the fisheye videos. So as you can see here, this is captured using an ultra-wide lens, which captures up to 180-degree field of view, producing a circular hemispherical image. As you can see here, this is what we are seeing is a dual fisheye camera. So each fisheye captures what one eye would see. But this also has a lot of para distortion. As you can see, the tree here, specifically at the edges, has a lot of distortion. And this distortion is what creates an immersive, exaggerated perspective that enhances our creative storytelling. If that fisheye is warped or mapped onto a flat rectangular image, we get a equirectangular image. While it preserves the entire scene, it also introduces distortion. As you can see, specifically at the polar regions, we do have distortions. And this is a very standard format for VR and panoramic content and enabling seamless navigation and straightforward stitching, especially when we are using multi-camera footage. We come to monoscopic formats. When we feed the same frame for both of our eyes, as you can see here, it is a monoscopic video format. Here, there is no parallax, which means that there is no sense of depth. It's the exact same frame fed to both the eyes. Versus a stereoscopic image, where slightly different images are presented to each eye, right? Mirroring how our eyes naturally capture different perspectives. If you look at this person here, you can see that on one of this frame is not uploaded versus on the other eye is uploaded. So this difference is what creates the stereoscopic depth. For example, as you are seeing, one eye may see a person partially uploaded, the other one is fully uploaded. Let's learn about the degrees of freedom. When we are watching a content, we can have 3 degrees of freedom or 6 degrees of freedom. When I say 3 degrees of freedom, the movement is limited to your pitch or roll, as you can see. Whereas in 6 degrees of freedom, along with the pitch, yaw and roll, we can have slide, heave, and search. So this is what we call as 6 degrees of freedom, and this is achieved when you are in a 3D model, for example, and not when we are watching a traditional format films. Lastly, let's look at what is interpupillary distance. The average distance between the pupils is 63 millimeters, and when filming immersive films, matching your lenses to this golden number ensures perfect depth perception. When a new user puts on the Apple Vision Pro and you see the press and hold, this is what is happening. The device is adjusting the lenses to match the IPD and ensuring a very comfortable viewing. And similarly, when we are actually filming an immersive film, we try to match the distance between the two lenses to be this, the golden standard immersive interpupillary distance. With the concepts in place, let's see what does the production look like to create an immersive film. First is the camera. We always try, first is to make an immersive film, we need a fisheye lenses. And to create a stereoscopic 180-degree film, we need a dual fisheye lens, as can be seen here. We always try to place the camera eye level to mimic the natural human perspective. This helps the user feel as if they are truly there. For example, this is a bad shot. We have actually tried to capture something from a very low angle, and this is not something that the user would be comfortable viewing. Alignment. Ensuring that all cameras, specifically in a multi-camera setup or a multi-lens setup, the lenses should be, the lens center should be parallel. And this alignment while in production saves a lot of time in post-production, trying to alter this alignment. One of the shots that we have seen from a really fantastic film from Apple Immersive called Submerged, stability is very important. As you can see, using a well-engineered, high-pressure clamping rig is as important as anything by filming immersive films, because our eyes don't bounce when we are seeing something. Similarly, the camera should remain as stable as it can. Conducting any sort of pre-calibration, fine-tuning using calibration charts, color charts will also help us avoid a lot of time in the post-production alterations. Next comes the subject themselves. Position the subject centrally and within the primary viewing area to draw attention and to make them the natural focal point. Avoid placing subjects too close or too far to preserve depth perception. If the subject is very close to the camera, we get what is called as a hyperstereo, and that is not comfortable. If the subject is very far away from the camera, there is no depth perception. So we need to ensure that they are at the right distance and we get the warmth and the most important thing in any immersive films is movement. The subject can be moving, for sure. And as long as they remain within the golden frame, as long as we know that they don't go into these polar areas, the subject can definitely move. But if we were to move the camera itself, the camera movement has to be extremely subtle. It has to be so slow, so gentle that it does not induce any sort of motion sickness. Once the production is complete, we go to post-production. First step in post-production is to take the fisheye that the camera, the raw output of the camera generates, and convert that to equirectangular. And several tools exist to do this fisheye to equirectangular conversion. For example, Mystica, Cartavia. There are several scripting solutions as well that are available to do this conversion. You then bring that in to, let's say, Resolve and do your grading, use the right color spaces. For example, the device actually, Vision Pro, dynamically adjusts for the environment. So it is very important for us to learn how to do this grading. So keeping the grading very subtle and processing in SDR is probably the best at this point. And also always try to export in ProRes to maintain the quality. Once this is done, we take that to the next step, what we call as encoding to an MVHEVC format. Apple requires this conversion. So this is the output that we get after we export from DaVinci, for example. And after encoding, this is what it looks like. So MVHEVC is an extension of HEVC. It efficiently compresses the multi-view that we have, and specifically for 3D content. What it is doing here is that it is taking the side-by-side views and it is actually layering it one behind the other. And along with it, it is actually doing a lot of very efficient compression algorithms, and by doing this layering, what it also gives us is that this same footage can be viewed on a 2D player, and all we have to do is just play one of the eyes on a standard 2D player. Several tools exist for us to encode to this MVHDC as well, and I want to take time to specifically acknowledge Mr. Mike's concept here. 90% of MVHDC encoded files use his open source spatial tool, and it's a very tremendous contribution to this field. Another player I would like to highlight here is Spatial Film, which offers a streaming platform specifically to encode tools, hosting, and HLS. Now, once we have our M3UI encoded file, we use an AV player which supports MVHDC natively right now. We create a hemisphere, apply a video material, and pass the AV player to it. Along with it, we can take care of things like HDR support, managing the subtitles, different audio tracks, and more to complete the immersive films. And all of this put together brings up a film like this. And when done right, the results are astounding. That was a quick introduction end-to-end workflow as to how to produce an immersive film. Summarizing, 180-degree films capture a wide but very focused field of view, making the audience feel as if they're in the middle of the action, physically present in the environment. So it brings about a sense of presence. Immersive films allow the audience to connect emotionally with the subject and surroundings, increasing understanding and enhanced empathy. And unlike 360 films that can overwhelm the user, 180 films enable directors to frame the shots very carefully and drawing attention to key elements and enhancing the storytelling. So we have a very focused narrative. 180 immersive films also offer this perfect balance between engagement and clarity, making them a very ideal environment for narrative-driven content. When code meets culture, we unlock new worlds. Immersive India began as a way to showcase India like never before. I would like to bring these worlds together. Thank you so much. Feel free to reach out at info@virginia.org or on Twitter at SwiftGG. Whether you're a developer, a content creator, or simply want to chat about collaboration, I'm more than happy to discuss this ideas with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Krishna. 大家会有问题想要问 Krishna 吗？我们现场观众可以用中文问，然后我们翻译给 Krishna。
我想知道，对于普通消费者而言，有没有什么现在的消费级设备可以比较好的拍摄180度的 VR 沉浸视频？
Yes, I can. Yeah. So, a very good question. And as you could see, we actually, we create most of our content using off-the-shelf equipment. While we have tried, multi-camera rigs, red cameras, and all that, a lot of our films were shot with the standard R5C and a dual fisheye lens, which is, available off the shelf. And what we have realized over, the past 1 year or so is that, while filming at a higher resolution can give you a lot of future proofing for your films, post-processing can actually, enhance existing, using the standard off-the-shelf cameras as well. So the right processing, the right post-processing, the right way to tell a story, I think that will be more efficient. But to answer the question, yeah, I think the Canon R5Cs with dual fisheye lens is as good as anything that is out there.